So before we get into Sales Accelerator number 9, I want to make sure that you know about a Sales Masterclass I'm going to be teaching in just a couple weeks' time. So in the Sales Masterclass, what we're going to do is look at all 9 Sales Accelerators you can see here on my screen. And what we're going to do in this Masterclass is go through each and every one of these 9 Sales Accelerators, starting with filling the funnel to your authority voice and your lead qualification strategy, everything around your prospecting. Then we're going to look at the 3 parts of your pipeline pull-through strategy, how you're running your product demos, how do you create mutual action plans for your prospects, and then how do you keep momentum through those enterprise sales. And then finally, we're going to be talking about your paying customer conversions. Why will your customers buy from you? How do you show how your product is a return on investment, not a cost? How do you reduce risk? And ultimately, how do you use your customer success plan, which we're going to talk about today in this LinkedIn Live, and how do you use your customer success plan as part of your sales process. So we're going to cover all 9 of these, as well as give you a chance to do a self-assessment to see where you're strong, where you've got work to do. And so if you want access to this masterclass, if you want to join us, just look in the comments below. You'll see a link where you can go and learn a lot more details. A ticket to the masterclass also includes a private one-on-one session with me, where we're going to evaluate exactly how you did in the class and where you found that you're strong and weak across these 9 sales accelerators. And you're also going to, during that masterclass, get access to 2 of our guest coaches here at Sales Qualia, Jason Bay and Megan Mishiak, who are also going to be teaching sessions. So it's a huge event. It's going to be great. You absolutely want to check it out if you're an early stage, growth stage startup, and you're looking to ramp up and scale up your sales process in the next 12 months. So now that we've covered that, let's talk about the customer success plan and your customer success strategy. Why is it so important as part of your sales process? Why do we consider customer success as a sales accelerator? Well, here's the thing, right? If you think about your prospects, if you've done the work all the way from where you filled the top of the sales funnel, you've pulled your now prospects into your sales funnel through your funnel filling activities. You've talked with them about why your way of solving the problem is the right way for them. You've qualified them as a lead. You've done the product demos. You've built them action plans. You've pulled them all the way through your sales pipeline. Now they can see how your return on investment. They can see how you're going to help them implement in a series of steps that will help them reduce risk. You can get all of those things done in your sales process, but yet you can still not get the sale. Right? And here's why this is so important. Because I think too often we think about as salespeople, and I hear this all the time. I hate this phrase that I hear, which is like, I'm trying to close the sale. I want to close the sale. I just want to get across the finish line. I just want to get to the contract. And the problem with that is that if you're treating the sale as the end of anything, if you're trying to close a sale, if you're trying to get to a finish line, that's the opposite of what your prospects are thinking. What do your prospects tell you when they tell you that they want to buy from you? They say, let's get started. So they're not viewing the sale as getting to the finish line. They view the sale as getting to the starting line. And that's why, as part of your sales process, it's your responsibility to make sure that your customers, your future customers, know exactly how you're going to implement with them and how you're going to make sure that they are successful to receive all of the promises that you're promising to them as part of the sale. And so the best way that I've found to do this, and the reason that you can use your customer success plan as a way to accelerate your sales, is through a really, really simple model that I call the 7x1. It's the 7x1 implementation plan. So if you think about right now, think about any deals that you have in your sales pipeline. And these, if they're late stage deals and you already talk with them about, how you solve the problem that they have, you talk with them about how you're going to be a return on investment. You know that they have the budget ready to spend with you. You've talked through how you're going to make sure to do a phased implementation and a phased rollout. You've done all of those things, but you've still got a prospect that might be sitting on the fence, or you're starting to sense some hesitation. Then this is exactly where you can use the 7x1 implementation plan in your next conversation with your prospects. Okay, so the way 7x1 works is really, really simple. I think of it this way: as like seven ones. So let me draw this out. and then I'll explain it to you. So we got 1, 2, I can do better than this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are 7 timelines. If you think about it, 7 timelines. So each one is the first. So what I mean by that is when your prospects tell you, we want to get started, that's the first minute. So your first minute that your prospect says, hey, we'd like to get started. The question is, what do you do? Right? The next one is the first hour. The next one is the first day. So if your prospects were to give you a call and say, hey, we want to get started with you, what would you do the first minute? What would you do the first hour? What would you do by the end of the first day to help make sure that they are up and running and can get up and running as soon as possible with your platform, with your solution, with your service, right? What about the end of the first week? What about the end of the first month? What about the end of the first quarter? And what about the end of the first year? So these are 7 first. The first minute, the first hour, the first day, the first week, the first month, the first quarter, and the first year. And so, first of all, the very first thing I would say to you, if you're out there selling, is I would challenge you and challenge your team to say, hey, listen, we've got these 3 late stage deals in the pipeline. We think we can convert them by the end of Q1. But one of the things we need to do as a team is communicate to our customers exactly how we're going to implement with them. And so we want to use the 7x1 framework, the 7x1 implementation plan as a way to communicate to our prospects exactly how we're going to deliver for them. So as a team, internally, before you even roll this out to your customers, as a team, if you sat down with your team of engineers, your product people, your customer success people, if you have them, your salespeople, even if you're a single person founder, are you able to answer that question? What would you do that first minute? What would you do the first hour? What would you do in the first day, the first week, the first month, the first quarter, the first year? What would be the delivery to your customers that would guarantee and ensure that they would be successful? So let me give you a quick example. If that prospect called you up today and said, we want to get started, let's get started. We've decided we want to work with you guys. That first minute, what would you do in that first minute? Maybe that first minute for you is like, look, the first thing I'm going to do is text my CTO and let them know we need to set up a VPN, a virtual private network. And by the end of the first hour, what I'm going to do is make sure that we have the final contract signed. By the end of the first day, what I want to do is get a list of all of the people that are going to be accessing our platform so we can start setting up logins, right? So now you can start to think through this as a project implementation timeline. So maybe the first minute is text CTO. First hour is contract and docs. First day is user list. By the end of the first week, maybe it's like scheduled training, right? By the end of the first month, do a retro with your customer. By the end of the first quarter, run your first quarterly business review on how the implementation is going. And by the end of the first year, talk about upsells and resells, right? It's a very basic framework, but I would challenge you right now, today, with 2 or 3 or 4 of those late stage deals that you think that you can convert by the end of Q1, if you asked your team internally and said, look, if we get the phone call that they want to get started, do we know who is responsible for what? What steps do we take? How do we make sure that we are moving quickly with our prospects? Because once you have this set internally, now you can turn this around and use this with your prospects before they make their decision. If you've got a deal that's late stage, you can simply say, look, Mrs. Prospect, Mr. Prospect, listen, one of the things that I've realized throughout the course of the last couple months is we've obviously gone in the weeds of how the product is going to solve your problem. We've talked through who's going to be responsible for implementation. We've talked about how are you going to get return on investment as a result of your investment in working with us. But one of the things we haven't talked about is what we like to call our 7x1 plan. And this 7x1 plan is designed so we want you to know that we are completely committed and we know exactly all of the steps that need to be taken in order for you and for us to be successful. So if you don't mind, maybe I could just run through this 7x1 just to give you the confidence that you need and the confidence you deserve to take the action to say yes to us. So, Mr. Prospect, Mrs. Prospect, let's just say today, at the end of this conversation, you said to me, look, we want to go ahead and get started. I want to let you know in the very first minute, the moment that you tell me that, the very first thing I'm going to do is pick up my mobile phone and I'm going to text my CTO and let my CTO know that you guys are good to go and that she needs to get a virtual private network set up so that we can start to create the implementation, the custom implementation just for you. And at the end of the first hour, then I'm going to work with your procurement department and your legal department just to make sure that we've got the contract signed, the document signed, and everything that they need in order to onboard us as a vendor into your system. And by the end of the first day, I'm going to work with your project team to get a list of the first round of users that are going to be using our platform so that we can set up the logins, get those logins over to those users so that by the end of the first week, we can schedule and have that first round of training to make sure your users are up and running as quickly as possible. By the end of the first month, we're going to do a retro on usage to see which of your users are using it well, which of the users may need a little extra training and a little extra help. And it might even be possible after the first month that you're going to start to see some early results. So I want to be able to communicate those and report those results to you. And we're going to run that monthly cycle for the first quarter. And at the end of the first quarter, at the end of 3 months of working together, we're going to run what we call a quarterly business review, where we're going to do a look back, a retro of those first 3 months to make sure that we are in fact doing all of the integrations that we promised, that you're getting the usage that you expected to get, and that you're getting the results that we are promising to you. And by the end of the first year, you're going to be so excited about the results that you're getting. You're going to be looking for ways that you can continue to use more of our products, more of the products, ways that you can roll this out to the rest of your team, other business units, so that we can continue to grow the relationship between your company and our company. So I just want you to know, Mr. Mrs. Prospect, that we think deeply about this. We want you to have the confidence to know that if you say yes, when you say yes to working with us, these are all the things that are going to happen from the moment, that first minute that you say yes, where you have a really specific plan of action to make sure that we implement for you and that you get the results that we're promising to you. And that's our 7x1 implementation plan. That's the most, I'll break the role play here for a second. That's the most rudimentary way that you can start to use your customer success strategy as part of your sales process. Because when you share this framework with them, when you share this confidence with them, then that's going to make them feel confident that they can say yes to you. That you're not going to just sign a contract and disappear. You're not going to sign a contract and then hope that somebody on their IT team does the integrations that need to happen. You're not going to sign the contract and then kind of wait around for a few months until they complain about people not using the software correctly. You're taking a proactive approach to implementation and a proactive approach to the relationship. You're future pacing all the way out, not just, okay, let's get you up and running, but what's going to happen by the end of the first month, in the first quarter of the first year. You're future pacing your customer about this long-term relationship, because that is what changes your mindset and their mindset about the sale being the end of anything. You're not closing the sale, you're opening a relationship that both of you, I expect, want to last for many, many years. This is just the first step. So you're not getting to the finish line, you're not closing anything. That finish line is actually the starting line of all of the work that needs to get done. Everything you've done in the sale is allowing you to get started. You're not finishing anything, you're not closing anything. And this 7x1 helps your prospects see that you're thinking about it this way. It will change your mindset and it will change their mindset to give them the confidence they deserve to say yes, and it gives you the confidence to know that you can deliver on the solution, both with your prospect, but also internally having the system in place and the people and the responsibilities in place in order to implement and get those fast, quick wins for your prospect. So let's turn this idea of closing the sale into, instead, turn that into a green line. It's the starting line of the relationship. And so if you've got a couple late stage deals and you want to get those converted by Q1, you've covered all of the other accelerators, you've gotten to the end of the sales pipeline, you're just waiting, you're noticing some hesitation, you're just waiting for your prospect to say yes, then the best thing you can do is whip out the 7x1 implementation plan. Get a conversation with your prospect. Let them know, like, hey, I want you to have 100% confidence that we're going to deliver for you, and this is exactly the roadmap that we're going to use to help you get the results that we're promising to you. So we're going to cover this in a lot more detail in the Sales Masterclass I mentioned at the top of this video. So again, if you want to get access to and save your seat in this Masterclass, we still have a couple spots available. Best thing to do is just type the word Masterclass in the chat box or check out the link down below with all of the details that bring you out to a page where you can check out the agenda for the day, learn a lot more about what we're going to cover, the guest coaches that are going to be coming in and giving sessions. I mentioned Jason Bay, Megan Mishiak. They're both coaches in our program that will also be presenting as part of this Masterclass. And when you buy your ticket to the Masterclass, you will also get a one-on-one private session with me post Masterclass, so I can look at your assessment, your self-assessment of these 9 sales accelerators that we're going to go through throughout the course of the day. And I can help you build a strategy plan, a sales plan of action, so that you can implement close any gaps that you might have around all 9 sales accelerators and help you make sure you're on the path to get a more predictable, repeatable, scalable sales process. So, all right, that's it for now. Thanks so much for listening. Make sure you type in the word Masterclass or click the link down below so you can save your spot. We do have a few spots left. We're keeping this really small because it's going to be an intimate, closed group. It's specifically for startup CEOs and sales leaders at startups. We're going to keep the group small because you're going to be working with me, you're going to be working with the other coaches, you're going to be working with each other. And the best way that we've found to do that is to keep the group small, keep it intimate, and make sure that each person is able to focus in on their business, and we can help you focus in on that. All right, that's it for now. This is Scott Sambucci signing off.